Well, the 2X crew, we all came out here to make it to where the business actually takes place. After all, this is where the excitement occurs. It's actually Launch Pad Complex 39A. The shuttle Atlantis is going to lift off from here in June. It's going to go on its way into outer space. And if you look behind us, we're standing right in front of the blast tunnel. You very rarely see this. There's a big blast deflector behind us and huge brick walls. Probably the largest brick oven I've ever seen. The heat here is intense when liftoff actually occurs. You definitely don't want to be standing here. It'll ruin your whole day.
Well, the flame trench is not something you ordinarily see on TV. And we were standing down in it, and that was just really cool because that's where a lot of the Apollo rockets have taken off. And in the flame trench, that's the business end of the rocket. And all you see is charcoal and bricks flying off and everything else.
I just can't honestly believe that it actually, can withstand it. It's got to be due to the water, because otherwise, I mean, this is basically a brick wall.
So it was really cool to be down there. You do not want to be down here during takeoff.
Do you know that water tower we saw April 2 coming in here? It dumps 300,000 gallons of water on here during liftoff, real quick. Wow. Yeah, within 20 seconds. And it has to, and that's that flame shield right there. It's actually a deflector. You can see there's actually some holes on top of that too. But the flame comes down through their angles this way, impacts on this floor, and goes right out to the outside to those outer fences. But you'll see a lot of white steam too, and that comes from it mixing with the water. I don't think there's anything that could take that. That would just not come apart. So dumping all that water in there, but you very rarely see this. And you look at the gantry up there, I mean, look how tall that is. You can see where the shuttle's actually going to be sitting right here. But the interesting part, there's another deflector on the other side for the main engines. I mean, you look at this and you realize all this thrust was going through this trench during every liftoff of the Apollo and the shuttle programs. And it's evident in the walls. There's scarring, there's just black charcoal, and there's chips of concrete missing everywhere. But then I was told by Manny from the Kennedy Space Center to come on down a little further and take a look at the surrounding fences. And what I saw there, I just couldn't believe. There's actually chunks of light poles missing where pieces of concrete became just aerial missiles flying out with that thrust and just impacting on these poles a quarter of a mile to a half mile away. We came out here to the blast fence. You can see there's actually, I'm here with Steve, there's actually a rock, piece of concrete embedded in the blast fence. You can see right up here how it hit like a missile. It's pretty hard to bend that fence and make it stay that way. And it's wedged in there. Look at that. That's a piece of concrete courtesy of one of the STS missions that went for a nice ride. Look at all the impacts on it. Isn't that wild? Unreal. To put it in perspective, the sound percussion is so intense. If you were standing within 100 to 150 yards of the launch pad during launch, the pressure waves would be so intense they could actually rupture your blood vessels and you wouldn't survive.
Being that my dad had a career in aviation and a real big interest in spaceflight, he taught me a lot about NASA's history. And to stand on the launch pad where we lost the Apollo 1 crew really made you stop and think about what it takes to be an astronaut.
This is a very significant area for NASA. This is where the Apollo 1 burned on their test. And we lost 3 great astronauts, Grissom, Chaffee, and White. You know, Chase, a lot of people probably take space travel for granted. I mean, until you actually come here and touch the walls and see all the different things that goes on here, you start realizing how risky of a business this is.
It's extremely risky. I mean, you gotta trust engineers with your life because they're putting you on a rocket that's holding millions of gallons of rocket fuel, and there's no for sure thing that you're gonna actually get up without any mishaps or anything. And once you're in the rocket on your way, there's no rescue team. There's no way you're gonna get someone up there and pull you out of a rocket ship and take you back home. So it's a risk. It's a big risk.
And it's pretty awesome that here in America we are able to, go up there and explore that for our future. right back with more of this big story here on 2xtreem Motorcycle TV.